Us for the Seesaw PD. I'm here to talk to you about what is Seesaw and exactly how you can use it in your classroom. I'm going to start with what is Seesaw? So I'm going to screen share a slide that I have. I'm going to get to it.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to back up just a minute too, and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. So I'm Amanda, the math coach for the elementary sites, and this is?
I'm Maria Guevara, and I teach second grade at Sherman Oaks. Oops, wrong one. There you go. Thank you. Can you see that?
It looks good, yeah.
Okay, good. So I used Seesaw last year with my students. Really, it was just a digital portfolio for them to, take pictures of work they were doing. This year, they've added more features. In one place, and you could link, your parents can link through their phone or any digital items they might have at home, computer, anything, just to see what your students are doing at home. Everything's organized. It makes it easier. I remember I did some of my students running records on there as well, just so their parents were aware of just how they were reading at school. The students really liked it. They were able to, they wanted to scan everything in and keep it in their portfolio. It has a built-in tools to make it easier to just have everything in one place. You create different folders, and it helps capture what they're learning in your class. Some even use them at home. And it's just a good parent communication tool just to link school and home. Let me move on to the next one. I'm sorry, you're going to scroll through a bunch of slides, but I want to show the next one. Some of the things that you can use them for, and other teachers in Seesaw have used them, was to explain a math concept. I know we're about to use them this week with their snap cubes, just to explain how they're coming up with different groups of 20 or 10, whatever you may be working with. You could use them for writer's workshop, assessment checks, science reflection, and that's it. Many more other things, I think. And these are just some other ideas of what teachers have used in Seesaw. The next part I think I was going to go over is how to have your students log in. Let me get to that slide really quick. You can use both devices. That was me, right?
Yeah, I'm going to maybe go through first where to find Seesaw and how to set up the class, and then we'll have you go through logging in. Does that sound good?
Yes, let me take off my screen share.
Great. Okay, I'm going to flip over to my screen. So the Seesaw app is available on your tablets and your iPhones, and they also have a Chrome app. So I'm going to show you where to find the Chrome app too. So in my Chrome browser, I'm going to go to apps. It's going to look a little different because I'm on a MacBook, but if you're in the kids' Chromebooks, actually, it might be pushed out to the Chromebooks. I'm not really sure. Have you seen, Maria, if it's pushed out to the Chromebooks?
No, we logged in today and it wasn't on there yet.
Okay, so then you can tech help to have it pushed out, which is probably the easiest if you decide to use it. But you can also go in the Chrome Web Store and look for the Seesaw app. And this is the student app, the student Chrome app. If you have parents download the parent app to connect to their child's work, that the parent app is separate. And since I already have this downloaded, it would say here, download to Chrome, but I already have it downloaded. So I'm gonna go back to my apps and go in and show you how to set up a class. So this is Seesaw. It's also just, if you want to type it in your browser, seesaw.me, seesaw.me. So you can also just type it up in the web browser and get there with the address directly. So this is one of the classes I already had, but if I were going to set up a new class, I click after I've logged in. Teachers can log in with Google. So I've logged in with Google, and then if I click on my icon here, I can go down to the bottom of that menu and click on New Class, give it a class name. Select my grade level. If you select, I can't remember the cutoff is, Maria, but right, so maybe you can help me. But if you select, I think it's K3, they automatically give them a little animal icon, right? And then if it's upper grades, they'll use their initials as their default icon.
That's correct.
So if I hit second and then hit the green check mark, everything in Seesaw, it's really nice when you're done doing something, you always click that green check mark. So That's kind of the same throughout. And then here is the next thing that Maria is going to kind of talk about too. You have to choose how you want your students to sign in. So they have the option when they add to your class to scan in using a QR code, or if you want, they can also use their Google accounts. I'm going to choose this for now, and then I'm going to pass it back to Maria so she can kind of explain the differences.
Sure, let me get on my screen. So, oops, I guess I should screen share first. Okay, so the students will log in. If they have an iPad, I don't think anyone really has, well, Android would be the Chromebooks or Kindle. And if they're sharing devices is really important. If they're sharing devices, the best way to have them log in is to either use the code, the stand-up, and the QR poster, I'm sorry. So they provide you one on when you sign in that you could print and download to have up in your classroom. And the reason you want this for students for shared devices, even if you have one-to-one, is that so that your other students will be able to access their record. If you choose the email code, then on that same iPad or Chromebook that you might have, the students would only have access to their account of the student that originally created. They would go in, they'd scan the poster. Again, you could have a class code as well. The only reason I didn't like using the class code is it would expire pretty quickly. So you'd always get a new one. I think the easiest way to have your kids log in would be to use the scan QR poster if you are on shared devices. If you are one-to-one and you don't share your devices with anyone, then they could use their Google login. And that's it.
Okay, so once you've decided how you want students to log in, the one thing that you do have to do ahead of time is add your students' names into Seesaw. So, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again. Okay, so I'll add my students' names in one at a time here, and once all of the students' names are in there, you'll hit the green check mark again. And then that's when it's going to prompt you. Since I chose QR code, this first message is going to prompt me to go get my QR code poster from my email, print it out so students can sign it, or excuse me, scan in. It also works fine if they're scanning a screen. So if you share this to them somewhere else, there's several teachers that are using this with Google Classroom or this with some other LMS. You can share the poster to them there and they can scan it off their screen too, and that works fine. And then my class is loaded and ready to go. So my new class is going to have a blank screen. There's nothing there yet. But I wanted to show you too some of the settings options for teachers. So if I go back over to I'll click out again. If I click on my icon here, I can access all my classes here. And right now I'm in the demo class for this Hangout. Go down to Manage Class, and this is where you can adjust some of your settings. So you can manage teachers and add a co-teacher, and co-teachers have all the same permissions, which is great. They can all post to the class. They can all comment on student work. You can manage your students here if you need to add more students later. These are kind of important. You can decide if the new items are going to need to be approved before they go into the portfolios. And you can also decide if students can see each other's work or not. So if you just want students adding to their portfolio, and they can only see their own work in their portfolio, you would want to turn this off. If, however, you want students to be able to see each other's items as they add them into their portfolios, you need to turn that on. One nice reason for keeping this turned on and letting students see each other's work is so that they can practice also commenting back and forth, because this is kind of a nice safe space for students to practice commenting and chatting with each other online, because it'll just be locked down to the class. You can also
and I wanted to add on to that
yeah, go for it.
Sometimes, when you link a parent account, sometimes parents will ask, well, then will the parent have access to everyone's portfolio? And the answer is no. So they won't see, even though the student can actually see everyone's in the class, the parents don't only see their child's portfolio. They don't have access to the whole class.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out. And as far as student commenting, you do have some choices for managing that as well. So if I go into the likes and comments, I can enable student liking. So students can, click the little heart button to like things. Or I can turn that off. And then this is where I enable commenting too. And here I have it turned on so that students are allowed to comment, but I have to approve their comments first before they show up to the whole class.
And it will email you every single time. So sometimes you'll see a big inbox because of that.
Yes. The other one that I kind of learned the hard way what this was all about, but enable item editing. So we'll show you in a couple minutes some of the tools you can use too in Seesaw. But one thing that's kind of fun is being able, as the teacher, to push items out to students and have them work on that item. If you want the students to be able to do something like that, you have to enable item editing. Also, just so they can edit their own work. So once they share or post something into their own portfolio, if you want them to be able to go back and edit their own work, this needs to be turned on. And then if the teacher wants to be able to push things out and allow students to make a copy to work on, this also has to be turned on. So I like to keep that turned on. And then here's where you enable the parent access. So if you want parents to be able to view their child's work, you need to turn on parent access, and then you can send home the parent invite letters. So let's see.
I think
I turned it pass to you now.
I think I missed the tools part, but I'm ready for that.
That's next. Perfect. Sorry. So now we're going to show you some of the tools that you can use in Seesaw.
Okay. So I'm going to put it on a screen share again.
Great.
Give me a minute. And then put it on the screen. All right. So these are some of the tools that your students can use in Seesaw of what they can do. The first one is that they can take a photo, and it has a camera icon for that, of any work or any posters in the classroom, or just really anything that they would like to add to the portfolio. They can add a video as well. So if you want a video, the students can video themselves explaining a concept or something they're working on. If they've taken a picture, they could add a drawing to that. They could highlight or draw on the picture to indicate something that they might be writing about or pointing out. If they've already taken pictures, say they've gone outside for a project or experiment, they could access the camera roll as well. They could add a note where it's just a text box, so they could type out a note for that, and then they could link a website as well. And what you see here is what they will have access to when they go to Seesaw. That's the menu, and they learn that pretty quick. They pick that up pretty quick. And those are the student tools in Seesaw.
Great. I'm going to click over to a class that we had set up last year and kind of show you what some of that might look like. So this is one of our kindergarten classes. And these were some of the ways that they used Seesaw last year. So this was these first couple. Oh, how about I share my screen? Okay. There we go. All right. So this was one of the kindergarten classes from last year, like I was saying. And these are some of the student posts. On the right side, I can see all the students that were in that class. Here, the students were doing some science work. So they were working in pairs and they were working with magnets. And so what the teacher had them do was take a photo or a video of the work that they did, and then they could record themselves explaining their work. So it's kind of a really nice way to capture those conversations the kids are having when you can't be sitting with every single student at the same time. So here are just some more images. Say that again, sorry.
It holds them accountable too, because then you could, you actually tell them, I'm able to view what you're doing, even if they're not in your direct supervision, they're able to see once they've recorded.
Right. Yeah. It's a great way for those of you doing centers. Seesaw is kind of a nice way, like Marie was saying, to have them capture their work maybe at the center that you're not at and turn in some of those, pieces of work that they're doing on their own in a center. Here I just clicked from feed view over to this calendar view. And this is kind of nice because I can see at a glance what days students were turning things in. And I wanted to click back to April. You can see we have more work turned in on some of these days. So if I click here on April 25th, I can see at a glance everything that was turned in on that day. this is one of those examples of pushing out a piece of paper to students. So I took a photo of a PDF and I posted it to the class, and then students could click the menu item there, or the menu next to that item. So if you scroll down, each item has this 3-dot menu. The teacher menu has a lot more to it. So this is just the teacher view. For students though, they can choose copy and edit off of this menu item, and then they can actually edit something I've pushed out to them. This is kind of a nice way too for your younger students, for the teacher to be able to leave directions in multiple formats. So I sent them this worksheet, and then I also left a recording of myself reading the directions to students. So now they can be a little more independent while you work with another group of students. I can also leave a text comment on this, or I could annotate this before pushing it out and maybe draw an arrow to the one I want them to do or something like that. So those are a few nice options. This was kind of an example too of the students doing work at centers. So they were doing counting collections in a center, and we had them work with each other to record their counting collection and just record themselves counting. So it's an easy task they could do by themselves, but now I can hear their thinking even though I'm not able to sit with them. So those are a few different ways that we use that in a kindergarten class. Maria, did you want to share any of the work that you've done in Seesaw so far, or if there's anything that you want to add to that?
We haven't used it this year, but where we will start. Last year we used it. I added in, and I could screen share my Seesaw. We added in our exhibition tech projects. So let me see if I can get this up. My computer is slow, sorry.
Yeah, that's something else too. Even if you reminded me, even if they're working on, they could use the tools in there, draw their responses, or a couple of students were like using the whiteboard tool to create stories and narrate their stories. But even just having them take pictures of, something they did on paper just to have it in their portfolio was kind of nice too.
I think my computer is going out. I can hear bits and pieces.
We can see your screen though, so it looks good right now.
Okay, good. And I hope you could hear me. I just hear bits and pieces, but the last thing that I did before the school year ended last year is we just added our tech projects. They completed on their Chromebook, and then they added them in, and then I had them go in and narrate their video. So everyone did their own, just so that they could have them on their portfolio. I also used them when they were going for Daily 5. So if students were reading with someone, I had them record each other so that they could go back and have a record of their reading, and then I could go back and see just to make sure that they were reading each other. And we also used it for word work. So when they were done with a word work activity, they would take a picture of what they did, and I had a Daily 5 folder for them to submit it to. And those are just some of the ways that I played around with it. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you, but we lost your screen. Oh, it just popped back up, of course, but something about the screen share doesn't seem to be working. But yeah, we could hear all that, so that's great. Someone just asked too, is there any way we can share the slides, or at least some of those slides out?
I have a copy of those, so we could put that as a resources. I think I shared the slides with you, but I know I didn't put it as a share one. But those are shareable. Those are belong as my copy already.
There's also, for those of you watching now, and even if you're watching later, if you click on the showcase button on your screen, well, this works if you're watching it from Google Plus or Google Hangouts. If you're watching it in YouTube, you won't be able to grab these. But there's a showcase button if you're watching this in Google. It's a yellow icon, looks kind of like yellow tags. And we shared a bunch of links in the showcase too, so that you can grab some of the slides. And I like this one too, the 100 things you can do with Seesaw. So there's some links there too, but we'll also share them in the Google Plus event page. I think maybe that will be a good place to get those. So
they want to go back.
Yeah, so then if they want to go back and look at any of the resources, they will definitely be available. One other thing that's really cool, I'm going to screen share over to one more time. we just have a couple more things we're going to talk about. It's just a real quick overview. I know we're kind of like running through some features, but feel free to call me or email Maria, and we would be happy to help out with getting Seesaw going in your class. But one other example, oh, this was nice too. The student took a picture of the work they did on paper and then added to it later. And then they also left a comment for me as well, audio comment, another cool way you can use it. Can you see my screen? Sorry, did I do that right this time?
I can't. I think my computer is just not working. It's the internet's really, really slow.
Oh no, okay.
So I don't think that. I think that's just me.
Okay. One other thing I was going to show everyone is that you can also upload from a lot of different apps directly into Seesaw now. So I'm trying to scroll down to, here's one. This was uploaded from Book Creator. So the student had made their journal in Book Creator on their iPad, and then they were able to share directly from Book Creator into Seesaw. So you can save work from other apps directly into Seesaw, which is nice too. And I think my PD classes have some better examples of this, but yeah, here's one. Like, this was a link that I shared, and this was a Padlet link, and it's kind of nice. It gives you that little preview of the Padlet wall, and then you can click right on the link and it goes out to Padlet. So it's really easy to connect work that you do in other apps right into Seesaw. And if you're on a tablet, anything you have saved on your camera roll, you can link into Seesaw really easily too. So they make it real. Oh, here's another example. This was on Pic Collage. And then from Pic Collage, we just saved this to our camera roll, and then we were able to upload it directly into Seesaw. So it links with a lot of apps, which is really nice too for being able to save things into the portfolio, but they don't make you go through a ton of different steps. So that's really nice too. And I think that was mainly what we're going to talk about as far as the tool itself. But then Maria is a Seesaw ambassador. And so I think she was going to tell us a little bit about free PD. Oh no, we lost Maria. Okay. It looks like we lost Maria. But there's a lot of free PD online. And I'm going to see if I can't click over to, she shared with us the August PD calendar, and they call it PD in your PJs. And I'm going to see if I can open this and click over to that calendar. Oh, good, you're back.
Sorry, my browser just did not, I had to restart it. It was not
No
working.
worries. I was just saying that you are a new Seesaw ambassador, and you can tell us a little bit about the free professional development so that they can learn more about Seesaw. So yeah, do you want to explain?
They offer almost daily Twitter chats for just different ideas that teachers have. There's a lot of ambassadors that just have lots of great ideas that they share out. So you could always, if you follow Seesaw on Twitter, you'll have plenty of resources. They also put out a monthly PD calendar, and they're just like a hangout. They email you a link. It's a little bit different. I forget what it's called, but I know they. Last time I listened to one, I just was cooking dinner, and I just listened to what they were sharing, and they have slides, and you can use those ideas that they have for you. They just have different ideas for you to use them. They customize them for grade level or subject. This month there was a whole bunch of them this month. The September one should be out soon, and I'll update that again on the link, so you can have access to that. But I know they have PD almost daily for that.
And do you want to talk about Seesaw Plus for a minute or two? Okay.
Let me really quick. I'm going to screen share that. Seesaw Plus is new this year. It's a paid service that they're offering. What it does is that you can track your students, also give them a skills level. So it's kind of just a rubric grading system. They have a 1 through 4 rating system that you could create an actual rubric for skills they might be working on the portfolio items that you have. You can also, like I said, track the students. There's also a feature for Seesaw for Schools. So if your school decides to completely use Seesaw as their digital portfolio, every year your teacher would get the previous year's portfolio, which is what we already do now. I just got the paper portfolios from their previous grade level, so you can make it all online. I am sharing if you would like to try out the Seesaw Plus, just to see what it looks like. If you try it out without clicking on the my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on the QR code. The QR code, you could try out Seesaw Plus for 2 months for free, just to see the features, the rubrics on there. And then if you click on the QR code that I have here, you could add an extra month. So you could try it out for potentially for 90 days extra for free. And that's it.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. So that's everything that we were going to go over briefly today. If you have any other questions, you can email me, email Maria, and we're happy to help out. And I'm happy to come in and help people get started in their classrooms too. If I can do that for you, just let me know. So thanks, Maria, for doing that for us.
Thank you.
All right. And everyone have a good afternoon. Bye.
Bye.